See, that's what they don't want you to know. Because the thing is, we were the original Irish. We were in Ireland years before we were the original Irish people. I'm telling you, the pubs, the beer, all that, we made that up. And the thing is, they trying to get Tory now. They trying to get Tory because they know we the original leprechauns. We the real leprechauns. We was leprechauns first. The golden end of the rainbow, that gold came from Africa. And the problem is, since they know that we the real leprechauns, they after our Lucky Charms. And that's what they want. See, they didn't want you to know that.
And from my interactions with the Irish people, that actually makes a lot of sense. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there is some absolutely absurd and wild news to get into, as of course we are now officially in LGBTQ plus MA, LMNAQ, whatever they want to make up, month that is going very interestingly, to say the least, as of course there is a major cultural backlash that is very interesting to see, especially with so much overt propaganda and disinformation in your face. All of this as some politicians are calling for the end of food. Yes, you heard that correctly. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all here on this independent media organization. And if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is done by a female comedian that did an absolutely brilliant job detailing the truth of the Irish people. It looks like she goes on TikTok on The Baddest Mitch. And if you guys know her YouTube channel, definitely let me know in the comment section below so we could put it in the description so you guys could subscribe and follow her really incredibly funny work that made me chuckle and laugh today. And hopefully did the same to you, since of course we need a lot more of that in our modern day, ever so encroaching, dangerous end of civilization life that of course has to deal with psychopathic governments that have a long and extensive record of taking people out, and their larger saber rattling over, of course, the authority to tax individuals. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. All of this is happening as a Chinese warship nearly just hit an American U.S. destroyer in the Taiwanese Strait during Canadian U.S. military operations in the region. This has tensions between this new emerging world power and the current world power have been, of course, very tumultuous within the last few years and getting more and more tense by the years, as there definitely looks like there's a Thucydides trap or an excuse by the military-industrial complex to bolster up more of their coffers. This is, we have to understand that the vast majority of our taxes, of our debt, of the money printed, literally goes towards the military-industrial complex that in the United States not only robs the American people of their wealth, but overprices and price gouges the American people when it comes to items that they decide to charge a very heavy premium on. Yes, the United States has spent more on defense than the majority of the world combined, but how much of that is actual legitimate spending that actually produced something? How much of that is corruption? Well, that's a question that, of course, we should be asking ourselves as the government keeps taking more and more of your money, and they're now looking for other excuses to do it, or just to destroy your livelihood, make food more expensive, and make it more difficult to make ends meet, all in the name of making the weather gooder. Yes, you heard that correctly, as of course, for many years now, a lot of central controllers have been using the excuse of the weather in order to, of course, not just trample and destroy human freedom, but also economic prosperity. And one of the biggest ways that they're doing it right now is to go after the food supply chain, as Ireland is looking to take out 200,000 cows in order to fight the weather. Yes, you heard that correctly. In the latest effort to reduce emission from agriculture, Ireland is setting forward plans to take out the life of 200,000 cows. An action that is not just horrific and cruel, but would of course significantly raise the price of meat inside of the Ireland, and goes along a part of the UN 2030 vision pushed on by a lot of secret society members that do unspeakable things in coffins, like John Kerry, that now have come out and officially said in order to meet net zero goals, they have to stop farmers from growing food. Yes, these are the words from John Kerry, an initiated man into many secret societies that now is working with the Biden White House in order to make the weather gooder. Here are this psycho's own words himself, as of course he flies around on private jets and justifies it by saying pretty much that he's more important than anybody else.
Agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions of the world. Depending a little bit on how you count it, but it's anywhere from 26 to 33. And we can't get to net zero. We don't get this job done unless agriculture is front and center as part of the solution. But with
Now, what is that solution, you ask? Well, it's probably something that the New York Times is hinting at today as they're releasing more propaganda that, of course, is centered around the larger depopulation agenda and narrative that you see so conveniently pushed on by a lot of central controllers. As their latest New York Times Magazine piece reads, quote, "Is it wrong to bring a child into our warming world?" Specifically trying to gaslight and manipulate any kind of useful lemming reading this trash that they somehow have a responsibility not to procreate in order to make the weather gooder. Again, a lot of this is just nonsensical and boils down to people trying to get more power and control over individuals, making our lives more inconvenient, making food more expensive, making travel almost impossible unless you're one of the elites individuals with private jets that could just fly around willy-nilly anywhere and everywhere they want at the snap of a finger, while people are now told they can't have short-haul flights because they're not rich enough to afford private jets. In France, they just banned all short-haul flights. Why? In order to push a climate-friendly agenda. And we know it's not about climate, it's not about carbon, it's about you. Reducing you, getting rid of you. And that's one topic out of many topics that we satirically highlight on our t-shirt store on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, like this one, with a gas stove that are now being pushed out of New York State with a tagline saying, "Come and take it." That's one of the shirts out of many shirts that we have surrounding this particular idea as we strive ourselves on representing political discontent as best as we can by helping people doing their own lazy form of activism by just simply wearing a t-shirt. We have tank tops, we have women's shirts, we have hoodies, we have sweatshirts, you name it. We got it. All on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. The shirt that I'm wearing right now is perfect for June month, representing and pushing an indoctrinative thought that, of course, people need to agree with, or they're bigots. And you better agree with me, NPC, or else you're going to be banned and canceled. All of this as we are also running a 25% discount code right now on most of our shirts with the promo code CHANGE-WT25. Change-WT25. That's the 25% discount code for all the t-shirts here. I will tweet about it just so you guys could copy and paste the promo code and save up to 25% right now with the majority of our t-shirts. I'll be tweeting that on @LukeWeAreChange, a platform that's been fluctuating a little bit, especially when it comes to the understanding of a lot of people and their interpretations of what they deem free speech. More in that in just a little bit. All of this as, of course, you purchasing a shirt helps keep this independent media organization up and running, but also more importantly, helps let your fellow Chad or Chadjeta know that they are not alone when it comes to understanding the political discourse and propaganda that they are inundated with every day. Break the conditioning, break the matrix just by simply getting a shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com while, of course, doing your own lazy form of activism, which I think we need to do more than ever. The link is down in the description below. Click it right now, and I will see you there right after this broadcast. As, of course, there's a lot more people that are waking up to the nonsense of our modern-day society every single day, and I would say I think we're even potentially at a moment of a major turning point, especially when it comes to a lot of the woke propaganda that is failing on its face again and again. And whether it's Target or Budweiser, a lot of people, a lot of industries are moving away from what some have called the satanic death cult. This as we're finding out that Mark Wahlberg, by the way, is trying to create a Hollywood 2.0 away from woke California, at this time in Nevada, as he just moved to the state for a better tax bracket and, of course, a, quote, better life that's not filled with criminals and crime. As Mark Wahlberg also lobbied Nevada state lawmakers to pass a bill that would increase tax credits for film production from $10 million to $190 million per year. All of this as YouTube even announced major shifts in their censorship enforcement policies that are really interesting, and according to some individuals, doing it because a lot of YouTubers have talked about moving over solely to Twitter. I, for one, being one of those individuals who is thinking about doing it, but isn't really too sure, especially with the upcoming CEO that has a lot of ties to some very nefarious organizations. All of this as there was a lot of flip-flopping at Twitter over the weekend as the Daily Wire talked about showing their movie, What is a Woman on the Platform, which was originally met by Twitter saying we're going to limit the reach of this. Elon Musk got involved and said, no, that's not going to happen. Daily Wire released a documentary, and then that tweet and that documentary was limited from the general public. And then after a moment in time, Elon Musk clarified, got rid of the limit that he promised wouldn't be there but was there, and then ended up promoting the movie himself, talking about the Streisand effect, and then how, quote, every parent should watch this movie. And I agree with him on that sentiment. Of course, I previously watched the movie. It is a good movie. It is a good documentary. It does provide some very interesting points and perspectives that are worth considering and looking at from a perspective that, of course, is hidden away from the general public and usually censored. Now, Elon Musk admitting that there was a mistake originally with the flip-flopping in the beginning is a step in the right direction, and something that, of course, gives me a lot of motivation to see that his platform is going in the right direction. Since, of course, not many times do we see big social media platforms admitting that they got things wrong when they routinely do. I'm looking right at you, YouTube, right now. I'm seeing you. You guys goofed up a lot. Messed up my channel a lot. Messed up my career a lot. And somehow I'm still here on this platform. Yeah, again, LukeUnfiltered.com is something that we're building ourselves that's growing rapidly. But again, seeing this move by Twitter, although tumultuous, highlighted Musk's commitment for free speech, or at least his own interpretation of it, as we're also finding out that a major Twitter executive quit after Musk promoted What is a Woman on that platform, showing specifically that Twitter's head of trust and safety, Eli Irwin, was probably behind this decision to censor a documentary with scientific facts while allowing some really crazy stuff on the platform with absolutely no limitations or warning. So with the ousting of this head of trust and safety, does that mean Twitter is going to be looking good from now on? Well, again, important to keep a skeptical eye here, especially with a new World Economic Forum CEO incoming. All of this, as I think the conversation should be focused on the documentary and the larger questions that it brings forward, especially when it comes to detransitioning and transitioning of young children that brings irreversible harm and a dependency on big pharma for the rest of their lives. As there's individuals who went through the process that are coming out, including a Navy SEAL, that is warning people that the establishment, that the corporate media, social media, and the doctors performing these experimental surgeries are not sharing all the data and information with the people that they're performing them on, including, of course, small children that do not know what they're getting themselves into. As, of course, a lot of the details here of what actually happens during these surgeries, the pictures, the horrific imagery that you have to see and to understand of what's really going on here. These skin grafts that again, mutilate human beings, that create objects that are there solely just for some kind of weird, horrific visual that don't serve any kind of purpose. No reproductive purpose. No pleasure. There's no pleasure from these things that are attached to human beings from their skin. There's no urinating function. There's no semblance of any kind of logical thinking when it comes to this. And to have children to go through this at a young age without informed consent is cruel, is evil, and I agree with Elon Musk, especially with his sentiments saying that, quote, gender-affirming care for minors is pure evil. And it's not gender-affirming care. That is a PR marketing term used by a lot of people pushing an agenda that closely aligns with the depopulation agenda. As Dr. Jordan Peterson originally says, the phrase gender-affirming care is a criminally evil lie. This, as many states and presidential candidates have been coming out against, quote, gender-affirming care as detailed by the corporate media, when some people are detailing it as child mutilation. Elon Musk then went on and later clarified that, quote, consenting adults should do whatever makes them happy, provided it does no harm to others, but a child is not capable of consent, which is why we have laws protecting minors. And I absolutely agree with him on his larger sentiment here, as, of course, we need more informed consent, and we absolutely have none of it. We have propaganda, we have disinformation, we have emotional hyperbolic dribble that is trying to make people feel oppressed, that is trying to make people feel like they're being attacked when in reality they're being promoted, because there is a sinister agenda behind all of this, according to my own personal opinion and perspective from what I've been seeing within the last 20 plus years of focusing and studying on all of this and seeing the progression of it. Now, Big Pharma's grip of control on the American people is vast, and the former president of the United States does represent that, as of course he also promised to ban child gender transitioning, which some institutions are questioning, since of course he also has a lot of stocks in the major big pharma companies that profit off of this policy very heavily. As of course, they have customers for the rest of their lives that are dependent on them. And as some people are putting, trans rights are big pharma profits, and they're absolutely correct on that assessment. As if you're an adult, do whatever you want to do, but at least know what you're doing. If you're a child, what's happening to them right now with parents pushing them to do this, causing irreversible harm, a dependency on pills for the rest of their lives, a destruction to their reproductive organs, a destruction to, of course, their hormones, which are linked and key indicators of health. Holy frickin' cow. It's absolutely bananas that we have regressed in our society and that this is still somehow a debate. I don't think it should be. I think it should be very clear. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you agree with my opinions and my sentiments, share this video with your friends and family members. It is more imperative than ever. Or wear a t-shirt expressing these ideas on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And because you do, that's why I'm here. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.